Good evening, citizens. My name is Ban Shattersong, former captain of the Bloody Hands Mercenary Company, and currently walking the labyrinth. It'll be a long time until I get back out. It's given me some time for thought. I've not learnt anything, but what I have done is cast my memories back to conversations and people I've met throughout the Empire. And today, we're going to be having one of those theoretical conversations with the mighty, once again returning guest, Ty. Introduce yourself, buddy. This time,
Hello,
Dawnish style.
Dawnish style for glory. There we go. Which is just incessant shouting just evolves into absolute mumbling. I'm Ty. Last event I went by Ira. This event I go by Azriel. I joined Dawn after spending some time in Highguard. This event was my birthday. I dragged along a couple of extra people, so no longer the solo LARPer I was last time.
You've leveled up,
Yeah,
spent that XP
I
point
have.
on friends.
I have. Exactly. I spent an XP point on friends. I literally came back from last event, went to my other half, and said, "It's my birthday. Next event, come with me." And then sent a text to my buddy and was like, "You're coming LARPing with me on June the 9th." So thankfully they're both up for it, which is good. So either they have very few points in will, or just generally would have actually enjoyed it and wanted to come. So let's hope it was the latter.
Yeah, did they say they had a good time?
Yeah, they both
Good,
had
good,
an
good.
awesome time. One of my friends I brought with, Ben, he's a medieval reenactor, so any excuse for him to slap on his armour and shout Latin obscenities, I mean, it's just a great opportunity for him, and he loved it. So he ended up joining the house this event, getting his test of metal, which is further than I managed to get. So big kudos to him. And then my other half ended up joining Urizeni because they like the sort of magic side of things.
Ah, yep.
Zeni's a bit more stoic, a little more chilled, and Dawn's kind of like based.
Yeah.
So
Dawn is
so
like
they
a
joined.
firecracker.
Yeah, exactly. Dawn is very much lots of drinks, lots of partying, whereas Urizeni seems to be somewhat more reserved, from what I've been told anyway. And they had a really, really good time over there. Some really nice people. So we're all eager and planning for this event, which is fun.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. I guess I've got a few questions to ask you this time round. Some of them are similar to the last episode we did, but there are going to be a few extra ones tagged on as well. So the
Right.
first is going to be you're no longer a new LARPer. You're technically a veteran, but you're still relatively new. What was it like this time round? Because last time it was a mixed experience. How did you find it sort of, you know, being quite brave, I would say. You've had a shit time the first one, but you get to turn up, have another crack at something. You switched to Dawn, you've varied up the game. How was your second event?
Yeah, it's weird thinking of myself as not a new LARPer because I sort of view my first event as a trial run, kind of getting to know everything, how the system, how the game plays. And so I went into this weekend with much more of a plan, much more knowing what I wanted to do, what parts of the game I thought I'd enjoy. Was originally going to go League, but then when it came to designing the costume for my character, ended up definitely flinging myself in more of a Dawnish direction. And after the third iteration of my costume, much to my other half's frustration, with them working the sewing machine and the outfit changing every other week. So yeah, ended up in Dawn, which was great. Which yeah, it was a crazy event, very very different, and I'm very glad that I stuck at it, even though I had a rough time. I still feel like I did get quite a lot of cold reactions. I don't know why. If I'm just someone that people are like, oh, let's just be a bit of a dick to this guy. But maybe it was just character stuff that I'm just not used to yet. Because obviously people just role play someone that's quite abrasive, but that's not sort of my style. So it's sort of takes you a bit by surprise.
It can do, yeah. I find a lot of that, like you said, let's call them abrasive characters, are actually very nice people OC. And a lot of the time, people either play as themselves with some fantasy paint on, and they're pretty nice, or they're a really nice person, but they just decide to let out all their inner arsehole, but slowly bottles up in day-to-day life, and you get criminals, thugs, vainglorious pride and all of that other stuff mixed in with their personas. Um,
Yeah, and I wish it felt more like a role play thing. I wish it felt more like they were just being an arrogant individual, but they were just so closed off, and just it just felt like zero time. It was like, I don't know, it was like wiping your ass with sandpaper. It was just a horrible, horrible time.
hmm.
No matter how much someone dresses up that sandpaper, it still could really hurt.
That
So
might be the quote for the episode. Yeah.
wiping your ass with sandpaper. There we go. You can have that as the title instead.
Yeah, no, it's done. It's on the notes. Yep, I'm taking it.
But I had so many really, really positive reactions as well, which was awesome. Spent loads of time over the Imperial Orcs, just absolutely enamored with their camp and like them. I think it was after I'd had a few sort of cold interactions in Dawn, mainly from earls or nobles, who I think have this kind of. Such I find nobles in Dawn tend to be one of two things. They tend to either be very much, I'm going to be quite haughty, above you, talk down to everyone, or they'll just be super cheery, like a fairy's done cocaine and are just going at it and having a great time with it. And I obviously resonate more with the cocaine fairies than the somewhat pompous nobles.
You're making this
So,
episode title difficult now. Our
so
sandpaper and cocaine fairies.
cocaine fairies. That'd be a good name for a drink or a band.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, if you go
Yeah.
around, like, did you see the Bardsteds
Yes,
rocking
yeah, I was
around?
camped near them last event. They
Oh,
were cool.
brilliant! Yeah, they were wonderful.
Yeah. Did you see they had a body, like a little fake arm sticking out the bottom of one of
No.
them? Yeah. So it's like, yeah. I saw a picture that was just like a fake arm sticking out the bottom of the like box that they walk around with. It looked quite funny.
Oh, man. So you went to the Orc camp because I fully admit I've been playing a few years and I've gone into the Orc camp 3 times in total. I've never stayed
Really? I
long.
went
I've
five
almost
times
I know
this event.
nothing about the Orc camp apart from the fighting pit.
Yeah, the fighting pit was cool. I didn't see anyone in the fight. I saw people, I heard people in the fighting pit, but I didn't ever stay to observe because I wanted, I'd heard sort of like the horror stories from my first event. Like, oh, we go visit the orc camp before time in because otherwise you won't get to see it. If you don't go with a weapon, they're just going to straight kill you on sight. And it sounds terrifying and really sort of really quite dangerous going to visit the orcs. But then I actually met an orc before time in, and he was like, "What? Who's spreading this nonsense? Who's spreading this? Come visit. As long as you bring a friend and a weapon and have like a reason to come. You're not just like a tourist. Then yeah, everyone's welcome." And so I sort of took that on board. And my friend, he just loved the orc camp. Ben really liked the orc camp, and I was
Uh,
like, "If you die, come back an orc, aren't you?" He was well up for it. So it's just an amazing cat, and they're all so nice for a nation that has so many reasons to be quite insular and just involved around themselves and sort of push other people away. Um, they were possibly like the nicest group of people, group of orcs. I don't know, people, orcs. Whatever.
I suppose they are
So
peoples of the empire. They don't have to be
yeah,
human.
yeah, exactly. So they were awesome, and I hope to go back again. I'm preparing like a little gift basket because the community is quite small there. It's quite a small camp,
Yeah,
and so
it's one of the
just by
lowest player
going in,
counts.
yeah, exactly. Just by going in, there's such a great sense of community. Like in Dawn, everyone's backstabbing each other, trying to pursue personal gain or the advance of their houses at the detriment of others. And so it's nice to sort of step away from that kind of you don't know who your real friends are to orcs, which is just drinking and just having a good time. Yeah, they were great. They were great. I'd encourage everyone to go over and see them because they were really cool.
Oh, nice. So did you? So when you went in, like you just said, there was kind of turn up with a reason. Did you have a reason to interact with them? Did you have like a bit of
Yeah,
plot with them?
yeah, I did. I was just like, I've got stuff to trade. Um, And so I went in with stuff to trade because I had a fleet, so I got like a random sort of collection of resources. So
Oh, nice, excellent, excellent. Sorry,
yeah,
I'm gonna go on a tangent there and dive immediately on that.
I'll do it. Do it.
So I know military unit and fleet both get essentially random resources, but
Yeah.
when I was playing with my military unit, that meant I would get one of the other resources at random, and 10 events in a row is a fucking herb garden. And it's
No way.
yeah, and it's not like, you get some ingots of iron, a single dose of lao, and some herbs, and a few extra coins. You literally just get one of the other pre-prepared options.
Really? Oh
However, I
my.
know with fleets in downtime, you can kind of choose where you trade, and sometimes you can come back with some extra little trinkets and bits and bobs. Did that
Yeah,
happen to you?
exactly. Yeah, so, well, because there was a new character, it wasn't a character that I swapped over, so
Yeah.
it was a totally new character. And when you make a new character, your fleet has to engage in privateering, which is 10 random resources. So it wasn't like just a herb garden or just a mana site. It was, 10 random things. So I think I ended
Oh,
up
good.
with, I got like a couple of doses of liao, some herbs, a bunch of minerals like mine stuff, wood stuff, forest stuff even. So that was cool. So I went along and I was like, I've got loads of stuff to trade. Um, and yeah, had a great laugh with the orcs. And one of them was like, "Is it your first time in Anvil?" And I was like, "My first time in Dawn." But so yes, but no. Obviously, I had to say yes. It's my first time in Anvil because my character. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's your first time in Anvil. Here, take this." And he gave me this like magic suit of heavy armor that I only had like was only good for next event. Worn it the day before. I was like, fuck, it was only my first time in Anvil on this character. I felt really bad. So I made an endeavour to come back and give him something in return. So, yeah, the orcs are great. And when I was posting up a couple of images, I'm trying to put myself a little more out there on the Facebook groups and on the Discords. One of the greatest comments I got was just like, "The Imperial Orcs like you," and I was like, "Yes, that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted." So that was really really cool. Really
Fantastic.
good people.
Yeah, it's those kind of random acts of kindness or, being a little bit more generous towards newer, let's call them newer characters rather than newer players.
Yeah,
But it generates that little bit of game because you'll go back and, like you said, the gift hamper that will further, deepen your tie with that particular orc. And then you might get asked on a skirmish or some plot,
yeah,
or you'll be
exactly.
trusted with a secret. And those small little actions that can seem insignificant can actually spiral out of control, but in a good
Yeah,
way.
exactly. Like if I can become made like an honorary member of the Orcs, then I'll consider Empire complete. That would be great.
Yeah, if you can
Um,
count orcs amongst your friends, if you ever get into any
exactly.
trouble and you turn up with a couple of orcs, like they are intimidating.
They
Every
really
last
are.
fucking one of them are
And some of them
scary.
are so tall. They're like
Yeah.
crazy things. So you're just like this 6'5" guy in an orc mask and this crazy amount of armor, just like scowling at people. And he's just like, "You're right, mate." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
I'm fine,
It
please
was
don't hurt
great.
me.
It was great. I remember I hadn't some of my friends, some of the other new players that I met there. They were all like they'd heard the orc horror stories and they're like, "Oh, we daren't go into the orc camp or anything like that." And at that moment, like an orc walked past me and just gave me a nod, and then we had like a little chat for a little bit. And I was like, "I'm in with the monsters. They like me." It was just such, and all my friends were like, "Oh," so that was really cool, really really cool. I obviously didn't dismiss any rumors to them. I was like, "Yeah, they're super dangerous. I've had to gain their favor," and so that was really fun.
Mm.
But yeah, a lot more hots this event than last. Like all the role play was quite good. I'm quite a shy and nervous person when I'm doing something I'm not super, I guess, familiar with.
Mm.
So I do find myself a little bit quiet around like some role playing. So there were a few like awkward role play moments on my behalf, and I apologise to anyone that had an awkward role play moment with me. But I tried to get involved as much as possible. I think I'm slowly getting a little bit more comfortable with it, which is
Yeah, that's totally the right attitude. You can never get good at something without practicing, right? So you've got to throw yourself in, keep trying if you've hit walls like you did in High Guard, and now you found Dawn, and even though you did get some, ass sandpaper experience,
indeed.
let's abbreviate that to ass paper
I
experiences.
like it. Yeah.
You
I mean,
got
ass
some
paper's
good
just
ones.
normal toilet paper, though. When you think about
Ass
it,
sand,
ass.
course, and it rips everywhere. But you can say yes, you still had some of that, but less. Let's I don't know. The vibe I got is like it was 50-50 kind of thing instead of 100%. So if that trend keeps going, the next event it's going to be 75% positive, 25% negative, and so on and so forth. And you've made some friends in different nations, and when um, certainly in my experience, once you start to know people outside your own nation, your own little bubble, the world starts to really build up and become and feel quite large because you start to get all these different national perspectives on the same problems, and it just makes the world feel so much deeper.
Yeah, yeah, it was really cool, and I made quite. I know in Dawn you're not meant to be trading around much. You know, you're not meant to be in the pursuit of money. But I loved the trading aspect, not because I like money, which I do. It was a lot of it was just it's so nice to interact with all these different nations. See, it's like you go on holiday and you experience all these different cultures, you know, but they're all there, like right ahead of you. And so, sort of rather than sticking at home, you know, I like to go out on my little holidays, my little weekend getaways, and go to different camps. And I'm not much of a drinker, so I know that there's a lot of sort of bar crawls that go around to different ones, but I like to see the different aspects of it, I suppose. So sort of went around during the days, did some trading, meeting some people. There were a lot of camps I didn't interact with. It was mostly I saw Brass Coast and the Imperial Orcs under the bar this event, and so hopefully this next event I'll probably spend a bit more time over
Nice.
Urizen, Lee, maybe Varushka, because I think they're quite cool.
Verushka are pretty cool. Like they're
Yeah,
this came up on I was chatting to some of the others earlier, Ben and Sol, and we were just talking about how Verushka now has like a third army. They've got 5 territories, making them the largest in the empire after claiming Ossium.
oh,
They're
wow.
incredibly wealthy, but they're one of the smallest headcounts in the field.
Yeah,
And they're larger than the Imperial Orcs, but not by much, not by much
yeah.
at all. And
Okay.
yeah, they're quite a strong power base per capita, if you want to put it that way. But yeah,
Yeah,
really interesting.
yeah. I saw their big parade of all like the monsters and the different things they had like these headpieces on. That was cool. So yeah, I mean, there's so much to like about all the different nations, right? So much to go and see and explore. And there was a lot going on in Dawn, but a lot of it is fights in the Glory Square, which my character isn't really fussed by. He's very much so. Why am I fighting the Glory Square when I could be fighting, the Druge on skirmish kind of thing?
Mm.
This seems like false glory to him because it's his first event in Anvil. He's like, why are all these fighting here when more men can go out and slay the Druge? So I think I'm definitely going to explore that avenue a little bit more. And I went in potentially wanting to join a house, and then have decided that no, I'm actually just going to be part of a dying house without an earl on the field. So perhaps like, but my earl is missing per se, so it gives me a nice reason to still be a noble, so I can enjoy all the fineries that come with that, but not have to worry about anyone ever joining my house because they can't because there's no noble, there's no earl even, and not having to do the politics because there's no earl. Like, being part of a noble house with no earl is fantastic. Like I get to avoid all the sort of backstabby bits, which is probably the bits I don't enjoy a game. Um, Azriel's kind of a very sort of respectful, stoic. Even when he executes his enemies, he wishes them, a good death, kind of thing. So leaning a bit more into that, and he's not so much into the whole backstabbing everyone in the houses just to further your own goals. So yeah,
Fantastic.
definitely some play to be had there.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you've had a good experience with the trading game because I know you know OC you're taking a little bag of rocks and metal circles and talking to people, but like trading with people is so much fun because it's something you don't do in day-to-day life. Haggling, that kind of thing. UK's not got culture for it, but uh, when I've been to Greece, for example, you can go to markets, you can haggle a little bit. It's quite fun. Um, Being able to do that at Empire is very refreshing, and you really get to understand the person you're selling to or buying from. The best question I find is why is this important or what do you need it for? And
Yeah.
then you find yourself getting sucked into this whirlpool of plot. Someone needs
Okay.
50 Lao or something to go and make sure that this judgment or whatever it is in the synod goes through, and they're able to have an effect on people walking the trods, for example.
Hmm.
It's cool to be even a small part of that process and make some money in the
Yeah.
process as well, so you can buy
Yeah, I
cake.
mean, I ended up with way more money than I thought I would. Sort of ended the event, I was like, how do I have like 2.5 thrones? What the fuck? So that was cool. So I ended up getting a ritual cast and me painting a ritual cast on me, which was cool.
Oh, nice. Which ritual?
Sular's Promise, which is the one that buffs your fleet for trade.
Hey,
So
nice.
yeah, so I'm getting a load from trade. I'm getting like close to 3 thrones worth of goodies next event. So pretty spicy.
Damn, the wealth spiral continues.
Yeah, and so the other group of players that I've joined in with, they're very much more into the politics game and sort of furthering their own houses and the lands that they're part of. And I sort of fell quite quickly into the sort of broker. So I like get you what you need, whether it be information or material. So that was quite fun. Um, and I think it reflects well on Asriel's character. He's someone that's been out in the world for years upon years for his Earl. So he hasn't been in a noble corps or anything like that. He spends a lot of his time fighting and trying to survive. So sort of the first time he was there in Anvil and was in this nice fine brocade um, tabard, it probably felt a little out of place on him, which was good because it felt a little out of place on me. So kind of kind of gives him an excuse to be a little bit awkward, which I am. So it was nice. We'll see how it goes forward, whether he gains more fine or devolves back kind of woodland ranger, but with maybe the splattering of gold jewelry on him every now and then.
Gotcha. Okay, nice. So it's like you've joined that group of players you're just talking about, but you've also got your friends on the field. What was it like having? Well, I guess were your friends and your partner were they like ducklings, where you'd meet up every couple of hours and talk and check in, or did you kind of just dissipate for the weekend and catch each other at 3 p.m. on Sunday?
Yeah, so it was a bit of both, really. The first day, so Friday night after time in, was very much us going our separate ways because my partner wanted to go explore Urizen with the sort of connections that they'd made. So they helped them set up the tent and stuff before time in and spent a bit of time with them at time in. And then Ben and I, because we were part of the same nation, we spent a lot of time with friends that we'd connected with before the event but hadn't met. So we got to meet them, which was really nice. But then the day after it, Ben was all off on and doing his sort of own thing. We went on a couple of skirmishes, we met up a little bit. But yeah, it was such a weird mix, and we kept running into each other when we sort of wanted to find each other. Like if you were ever like, oh, I need to find them, and they were just there, and I was like, nice. So that was sort of happy coincidences. Um, but yeah, a mix of both. I think there was plenty of game to be explored like individually, and then there was a lot to be had together, especially when it comes to skirmishes. We jumped on as many of those as we could.
Yeah, the big shake up this event was having named people responsible for each skirmish. How did you find that in terms of getting on compared to last time? Because for us, it became a lot more difficult to get on.
See, this is the first I've heard of this. Like what?
Yeah. So in theory, so all the skirmishes that got published for the Winds of Fortune and the Winds of War before the event, would have a named person responsible. So like the Valorn skirmish, the advisor to the Valorn, or the Tower Jacks general, or whoever it was, would in theory be in charge of organising the skirmish. Before
Oh,
that, that's never existed. It's
that
always been
makes
down to
more sense.
players. Yeah, it's always been down to players in play to kind of just argue it out. But I think with
Yeah,
the sheer mass of people who are now at Anvil, it needs some kind of IC guidance on basically how
that
to
makes sense because
organize it.
I did see some of that, but I wasn't aware it was done differently before. So there's the former skirmish captain, or might still be skirmish captain in Dawn, Captain Charge.
Right,
He
yeah, I saw this on your Hots and Knots. Who is Captain Charge?
Captain Charge, he was great. So he was the skirmish captain of Dawn. He posted out before the event, like if anyone wants to get involved in skirmishes, come find me. So like the first thing I wanted to do at time in was like I need to go find Captain Charge. I'm going to find him. And I found him. It was quite easy to find. You just go in, does anyone know where Captain Charge is? Like, it's that guy there. So that was super easy. And he was awesome. He got me involved in all of the skirmishes I wanted to be on. Knew exactly who to talk to. Gave me like his almost seal to go and speak to other people. So it was great. He got me really really ingrained in the game. And then even on Sunday when I had sort of this grandiose idea. I was like, I want to get all the archers up in the Empire, or at least all the archers up in Dawn. And we'll all just fight together and we'll kick some ass. Because like just being able to shoot two people at one target is just so
Mm,
much more efficient than just one person firing quite slowly at one target. So it was great. But alas, that didn't quite come off. So I was like, hey, I haven't got anyone to fight with. No. So he just sort of adopted me into his wing, into his lance. the Winged
Nice, nice.
Lions. I fought with them on the Sunday, but yeah, I think skirmishes went well. And you didn't get on many, did you?
No, I got on the lawn one, and this was after Ban, my previous character, had died. Rip Ban. And I was playing as Lindir, um, a very green raw recruit with his father's longbow, not father's sword, but almost the same,
Right.
and very innocently wandering around and suddenly thrust into wars and skirmishes that he didn't fully understand. He just had to kill his way out, and it jaded him. But
Okay.
yeah, that I went on the Valorn skirmish. First time seeing Valorn, IC was
Yeah.
terrifying for him, which is
Of
pretty fun.
course. Of course.
But the main battle on the Sunday was fucking awesome. Really got into his element there, and I guess that's a good segue when you're talking about archery. That's where we ran into each other.
We did. We did. Things went really great up until one small moment where one of my arrows went slightly off center. Let's say it sort of grazed your cheek, didn't it?
But
So
I think the official story is I got in the way. It was a good shot, and then kind of drifted in.
I'll take it because that was not a good shot. That hit nothing but grass. I just didn't leave the bow correctly, and just yeah, I was like, that's gonna hit someone in the head, and that person happened to be you.
Yeah, the Sunday battle for archery, like I'm not really a veteran with bows
Mm,
on the main battles. I only
yeah,
did it on the skirmish the previous day, and
right, okay.
last time I did it was years ago. But it felt like a really good archer battle. Like I
It
don't know
was,
when we ran into each other, we kind of operated as a pair.
yeah, it
Throughout the
was
rest of the
awesome.
battle, I was getting some high guard and Navari archers to kind of act like a skirmish screen, and literally
Nice,
we'd pop
nice.
out the bushes, volley fire these Druge, and then fade back in, just screaming fire and fade, fire and fade. Um, any
That's so
Eldar
cool.
Warhammer players will get that reference as a
Yes,
stratagem.
yes. I am one of those filthy Eldar Craftworld players.
Same, but like yeah, just fire and fade, and we'd pop out the bushes because this battle was in the forest, and take out 4 or 5 of them in a single go, and then just run off. And there was nothing they could do. They would fire back at us. Occasionally, would take a hit or a casualty, or someone would lose a leg. But it just felt very dramatic and high tension. But at the same time, especially when you and I were working together, it felt very effective. It felt like we really had an impact on the battle.
Oh, massively. The having that sort of almost chest high bracken vegetation in between you and other people allowed you to not only sneak out to people, but it also meant that their melee units just couldn't get to you, which is great because they have to run through this bracken. And you're like, well, by the time you've done that, I'm gone and someone else is stabbing.
Yeah,
So it was great. And one of the things I liked doing was I'd sort of stand behind my sort of thin line because they kind of get because of the bracken and the paths, you kind of get these very small kind of standoffs between groups, like these small lines, like maybe 2 people deep.
yeah, like a
And I'd just crouch
20v20.
behind them and just let them know, by the way, I'm behind you, I'm going to shoot through your legs, please don't move. And so I was shooting through people's legs, and then an arrow would just fire out of that line, and like I hit an orc dead in the chest. And he just sank down to the ground, and then I hit another one in the knee, and they were like, "Okay, that's 2 shots. That's 2 people down. We're now charging." And then the whole line charged forward, and it was awesome. And there was a bit where it was a bit of a standoff, and I couldn't see any archers. And I was like, I can just walk right up to this line. They can't get. And so I just walked up to the line with the arrow nock, shot one dude in the leg, and then the line behind me of Dawnish knights charged, and I just crouched down, and like as this unit of knights charged past me, and I've never felt like more of an anime protagonist in my life. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was. And hunting down that herald as well. That was I've never
Yeah, they
I've
were
never got that close to a
fast.
herald before.
Yeah, you were like, "There's a herald," and I was like, "What's that?" And then all of a sudden you're sprinting off, and I was like, "I'll fire the shot," and then yeah, boom. Yeah.
I mean, firing a longbow at the sprint was difficult. Narrowly missed him. Your shot narrowly missed him, and well, I got in the way, hit me, and then I think we get another shot off or a cleave on it or something.
Yeah,
I
I
go
think
down
you
from
you
the
ended up catching up to them.
yeah, and then once I'm patched up, I turn around and there's this Dawnish knight just beating the shit out of it with his shield, just
I
slamming it
love that.
over the head, like
I
give me
love
a
that.
ball, give me a ball, and apparently those were the objective for the battle. We got
I see. I
four
didn't
out of
know. Had
we got
no
4 out of
idea.
20 of them. But
We only got four.
yeah, there was a big
Ooh,
pool of
yikes.
them on the main field, but it seems like the field marshal forgot that the main field was in play, and yeah, we just skipped
That's
half of it.
irony acquainted to that name, isn't it?
Yeah,
Field Marshal forgets field.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to get a little like assassination group of players going, like some good archers, and just being like, look, we're just going to hunt things because you really can. Like, you can be quite accurate about 20 paces with a bow, a
yeah.
30-pound bow.
Um,
So
we had that, didn't we? At one point, I shot at one, his shield went up, and then you shot him in the leg or something like
yeah,
that.
it was great. I was like,
Yeah,
look, we'll shoot at the same guy. I said, call your target and we'll both fire. And you did, and we both fired. And he blocked your one and then just looked down and just saw this thump as it hit him in the leg with mine. It just went down.
yeah.
Great.
It's like, haha, fuck you.
You should give a try to. I'll bring my bow again and you can give it a try. I'm bringing like an archery target and stuff to next event, so pop down
Oh,
and
damn,
do some
nice.
shots. Yeah, because my bow's a lot shorter than yours. For anyone listening, it's a Scythian horse bow, so it's somewhat you'd see to sort of Mongolian archers and stuff like that use it on horseback a lot. It's a lot thinner, not thinner, like more compact. Um,
Yeah, that
so
your
it's a lot
standard,
easier to fire.
your standard like curved hunting, like
Exactly, yeah,
like
not like a recurve, but even smaller than that, which is great. So I love
yeah,
my bow. Absolutely obsessed with my
nice.
bow.
Yeah, I gotta say my ash longbow, absolute baby of mine now. Now it's netted me the official kill. Well, for me, that kill count that battle was 46. And when I say
Damn.
kills, like
Yeah, I didn't count mine.
downs. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't count mine.
I was
I
going
probably should.
one, two, thinking kind of like Legolas and Gimli kind of thing, and then it
We
just got
should do
out of
that
hand.
next battle. Let's do that. Let's one. We need to find a reason to IC again this sort of archery rivalry and just full on be like, still only counts as one when you take down
Yeah,
like a
shooting a
huge
war
enemy or
rhino or
something.
something.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'll ask you to toss me. Be great.
Just bring a small box in the field so you can stand up over the line.
I think I'm taller than you though, so I think if anyone's Gimli, it's you.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I'll just like grow my beard out or something. Gimli with a longbow, the ultimate immersion breaker.
That'd be great. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, we could especially on your point around getting the archers together. We have the Navarchers in
Yes.
Navarre, great name. However, I feel like an international archery block would be pretty good because most nations have archers, but they're pretty low density. But actually, when they're a unit of,
Yeah.
say, 10 skirmishers, they're very effective, huge force multiplier, and you can hold a lot of ground or contest a lot of ground with them.
Yeah, massively. Like if you can get 10 people to fire arrows, sort of one every 5 seconds, which is kind of the rate that's a decent fire rate,
That
then
is
you
pretty
can
good.
just,
Fuck me. Yeah, that's quick.
yeah, you can just desecrate entire lines. It's great. Um, Especially where if there's like a stalemate and you just need to take some ground, just fire at 10 people at legs, and then if like two or three of them go down, you get that line of knights to go. You go fuck them up.
Yeah, the look at the orc's face when you hit them in the ankle or the knee, and they go down at the front of a shield wall. They look at you like you've killed me. as,
It
they,
was great
as their legs get
during
hacked off.
Yeah, amazing. During New Player Skirmish, so because it's my second event, I could still go to New Player Skirmish, and I wanted to because my buddy was out there, and he's very heavily armored clank, and I was like, "You've got no armor on your legs. You know, archers are just going to shoot your legs." And he didn't seem phased about it, so I was like, "No, I'm going to join the opposite side and put the fear of God in him." And the very first shot I shot was when he was fighting someone else, and I shot him in the leg for about 10 paces, and he just looked at me and was like, "You dick."
You've been done for.
And I was like, well, yeah, I said it was going to happen. So I think after that, he was like, right, I'm getting some greaves. So that was good, getting some thigh armor. But yeah, there were also a lot less people wearing heavy armor this event, like monsters wise. They actually had some lightly armored opponents, which was great.
Yeah,
Um,
the Druge had because now with the armor changes, those orc breastplates are heavy, but the Druge
yes.
weren't too heavily armored, which was nice. They are
Yeah.
basically barbarian Navarre, sort of medium armor, lots of venom, strike quickly, strike hard kind of mentality.
Yeah, and they're such a cool enemy to fight. As opposed to when we were fighting, I think it was a Jotun. Jotun are really heavily armored traditionally, I believe.
Jotun, yeah, Jotun are.
Yeah.
We fight them a lot, and like in the from a game background point of view, it always makes sense. It does, but fight like as Navarre, we fought against Jotun like fucking 30 times now. Because the Thule we have
Blimey.
peace with. The Grendel used to be interesting with their Mr. Pinchy lobster suits. If you've seen those in some of the photos.
No, I've seen the Eticaps. Don't know if that's what you
Yeah,
those
the
things.
Etcap's like the Beetle Boys,
Yeah.
Fall of a Lawn. But no, the Mr. Pinchy is a gigantic lobster suit that will
Oh,
like
what?
snip people in half.
I
It's
want to see that so
yeah,
bad.
I'll send you some pictures after this. But yeah, the
Definitely, that
Grendel
sounds
would
so
bring
cool.
war rhinos. They were like,
Wait, actual war rhinos?
yeah, there's
Oh, mate,
it was like a
I want
basically
to
a
fight the
go-kart
Grendel.
frame. It's like a car with all the metal ripped off, and the chassis is covered with furs and stuff. It has like a tank cupola, so a monster can look like they're sitting on the top, and they just have a pike as a one-handed spear and just poke people. But the
That is
thing has strike
amazing.
down and impale if you just touch it on its horns
Oh,
to the front. So there's two refs either side of it, and as soon as it comes near a unit, it just crumples. The unit is destroyed.
that's amazing. And we don't get to fight that because we're not at war with the Grendel.
Correct, yeah.
All right, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to go to war with the Grendel.
Oh,
I'm
mate,
sorry, I'm sorry, Empire, but
should have joined me going for the Grendel Ambassador. You know, it's not about Feroz, it's not about any kind of virtue. It's purely to fight a war rhino.
that'll be a good excuse of my execution. I think. I think
Yeah.
they'll be like, actually, you know what, you're all right. Have a fine of a crown or two.
Yeah, the war rhinos are great. The Thule, who are the northern orcs, use a lot of magic, and they would show up with they typically have loads of heralds, loads of mages on the
Ooh,
field, and lots of interesting monsters like drakes, if I remember correctly. We fought
what?
them. I've never fought them. I don't think I've ever fought against the Thule. The Thule. They're actually our allies at the moment. They helped us against the Jotun and
Damn it!
the
I want to
Druze as
fight
well.
all these cool enemies because I've never seen like any big monsters in Jotun or Druge or anything like that. So
Yeah, the Jotun, the event before COVID, they brought ice giants with them. It was just
what?
Andy Raff on
How have I missed out
stilts.
on all of this?
Yeah, Andy Raff is 6'6". He does not need stilts, but boy, with stilts on, he is a giant. And
That's
he
incredible.
was just walking around with these two like mega fists. I can only describe them as like a Hellboy gauntlets, but like ice. And
Love that.
again, impale, strike down, and uh, repel all in one. Just punching the shit out of the brass coast was what we saw. Yeah, it was really cool, really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, definitely want to. Because one of the things I love about the skirmishes is you get to sort of fight more interesting battles than
definitely.
just sort of like lines. So that was nice. But yeah, I'd love if they added more stuff like that. But it seems like they're going in the right direction with the way the battles were because they definitely felt more dynamic than last event, which was sort of all
Absolutely.
lines on fields, and I just couldn't do anything. I was like, well, I could do stuff, but it wasn't anywhere near as fun as stealthily sneaking around in the woods and stuff like that. That was my jam.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very much a case of E1 got a lot of new players and people are rusty. Let's keep it simple, keep it
Mm.
safe. And yeah, you're right. They've ramped it up a bit this time because sometimes the Druze will bring miasma clouds with them. So what I can only describe them as like a Skaven plague sensor bearer.
Okay.
There was this Druge running around with a pot on a lanyard, with obviously like a green smoke grenade inside. You'd run up to the lines and just shake it, and if the smoke went over you, you were venomed and weaknessed, and
What?
yeah, and basically gassing people, running around like a
That's
little mascot.
amazing.
And we'd see them,
Ah,
and they'd pop up to a line, mass weakness everybody, mass venom, and then fuck off, and they were absolutely devastating.
that's amazing. I like that. Yeah, super excited to see where sort of PD decide to take battles and stuff when everyone kind of gets more used to things again, I suppose. So that would be awesome.
Yeah, the heralds are the fun ones. They're pretty easy to show up. We had I think Siaka, if I'm saying that correctly. Basically, like the Eternal of the Sea that the Freeborn are very interested in. Has shark heralds, so people in shark masks with big saws and teeth. And there
Was
was
that
one
this event?
that again, sorry, this is pre-COVID, but
Okay.
they showed up and they had like fake sausages. So they would start to eat fallen Imperials and pull the sausages out of their belly to look like intestines and stuff. And
Oh, that's
those are pretty
amazing.
rad. But the most terrifying monster of all, in my experience, has been on the skirmish, and that was a plague wolf. This was maybe 3 events in. It's pitch black at night. It's like fucking 10 o'clock. We go onto the main field, and right at the back of that open field, there is like a little grotto set up. And there's some husks. They're not Valorn husks, they're just regular zombies,
Mm.
which it turns out plague wolves can control. And then we heard this fucking bass boosted howl, and this thing is basically a zombie werewolf. And it came out. It's like 8 foot tall, the suit, and it had big glowing red eyes. And it's all you could see in the pitch darkness was husk faces because they were like white in the moonlight, and then red
God.
eyes. And it just tore apart a unit of knights, Dawnish knights, about 10 of them, and the remaining 20 of us just fled. It's absolutely brilliant.
That
Yeah.
sounds incredible. I'd love to do more like nighttime skirmishes, like a little bit darker. I think that'd be amazing.
Oh yeah, there was
Uh,
one ridiculous one that happened with the Brass Coast and the VAR this time round.
I did
Um,
hear about this one, like 10:30 on the Saturday, right?
yeah, Matteo
Yeah.
Edgestalker is now a literal hero of the Empire. After the Freeborn go in on a stealth mission, maybe I don't need to tell you, but Freeborn scouts is kind of like an oxymoron because they are brightly coloured and jingly. They're not very good at it. So I know, right? We turned up at the gate. We're all in like in our cam cream, hoods up, drab weapons, proper Navari scouts. And there's like 6 of us. Like, look, we're reporting. We were told that you needed a hand. The skirmish captain is like, look, sorry, I've kind of promised these places to, my family, which is like a freeborn group. And then I look at this group of scouts, and they're like in bright oranges and yellows, and I look at the commander like, you can't be serious. You just can't be serious. So he and he says, well, how many of you? And there's 2 of you. And I gesture, and there's like 8 of us. If he couldn't see, and he's like, oh, I didn't see you there. Yeah, buddy, that kind of proves our point. And he goes, okay, fair, right. He asks the group on who wants to step out. A couple do. A couple of my guys go on,
Yeah.
and the skirmish goes out. And 15 minutes later, it comes back. Kind of in failure. They've obviously been, of course, they were spotted, and it's been a failure to rescue these hostages. However, the other Navarre that went on is Matteo Edgestalker, and everyone's like, "Where's Matteo? Where's Matteo? Has he fallen?" And everyone's very nervous. And then 15 minutes later, he comes back out with the hostages.
Yes.
I
Oh
fucking
my god.
soloed the mission. Absolutely soloed it. We were sat there in disbelief of like, wow, that is it, just incredible. So the entirety of the Brass Coast bought him a drink that night, I'm pretty sure, and he probably has like, I don't know, 30 or 40 marriage proposals, and is almost certainly very wealthy, and needs to
That's
milk that for
amazing.
everything it's worth.
Yes. Oh, incredible. Love that. Really, really love that.
Yeah, because Keelan was on that. He came out and he was like, that was real tough. That was really difficult. But
Yeah.
Mateo, nah, mate, soloed it. 10th prestige, 10th prestige.
But he was really quite on and just went amazing. That's so cool. It's I love just hearing other people's stories of LARP. That's part of the best thing about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Is on the drive home, just sharing stories with everyone. Although we were absolutely knackered, but yeah, I'm so excited for E3. We've got so many big plans, so much excitement going on. Starting a nightly order, which is going to be fun. Archery guild, I want to try and get up and going, to try and get some more archers knocking around. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, and some costume design changes and little bits and bobs. But
Yours looked
yeah.
really good. Like your tabard did. From your comments earlier about the sewing machine, did you did you two make it yourself?
Yeah, yes, we made pretty much everything I was wearing myself, apart from the leather craft. But I am starting to make myself a set of leather armor for next event. Hopefully, it goes well.
That was you talking to the dwarven leather crafter.
That was me. Yeah, yeah. He's
Almost
given
that
me a
time
bunch of
out.
helps and advice. Yeah, he was a really nice guy.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I saw you with a roll of leather under your arm, and I was like, "Is that?" Not sure. In a rush.
Yeah, yeah. Couldn't recommend him enough. He's a really, 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 really helpful guy. Because there was a leather trader in the field, so I bought some leather off him, with what I want to make my armor out of. So yeah, really excited. Just got all the tools ordered. I've drafted up a design. It's like a shoulder piece with a sort of neck inlay that goes across like the whole of across the whole of my shoulders and sort of down to around about my elbow, and then probably some gauntlets as well if I have enough material left over. But yeah, really, really excited to just upgrade the outfit as it goes. But I mean, the great thing about having a tabard, people kept coming to me like, "Oh, your tabard looks so great." I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, that's great." And then I grabbed a few commissions from it as well, so it's awesome. So that might finance my my
Oh,
next event.
excellent. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so that's cool. Really cool.
Can 10 out of 10 confirm to any of you lot listening in? It did look very good. Very, very high quality. 10 out of
Yeah,
10.
it took us a while. I had the idea in my head, and then my other half really helped out. We did this nice leather edging around it, and it just turned out looking really nice and clean.
Oh, excellent. So like the folded over leather just around the hem.
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
that was it.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when people do that on chainmail, it looks fantastic.
It looks awesome. Yeah, it just adds this. I think it's all about the finish. Like, the fabric was stunning, but it was all about the finish. And yeah, big shout out to my other half for helping with that sewing machine because it drove me crazy at times over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's a great thing about kit. It's always aspirational and it always gets better and better.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get myself like a diadem for next
Ooh,
event. Now that
okay.
I'm an official noble, I've made my own little house, so I can claim myself as a noble, and then maybe make some kind of fancy velvet cape or something like that. Go a little bit more fancy and sort of feel even more out of place, but to suit his own ends, I suppose.
Well, hey, if it's glorious, then do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Just have to shout for glory, and then everything makes perfect sense, right?
It does, yeah. Charge or glory, everything's fine. You know, if
Yeah,
you push to the
exactly.
front of Moorish, everyone's like, wow, what a dick. And then you go, for glory, that makes sense. As you slay the sausage monster in the kitchen.
Exactly, exactly. And there's a lot of chat with some nobles about how archery isn't glorious and stuff like that. And so Azriel's going to have a field day with all of that now that he's officially a noble. People telling him that his preferred way of combat is not glorious, but I don't think he's going to give much of a fuck. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it'll add to some adversity and some enemies forming within the nation of Dawn.
Can confirm being a antagonist is a wonderful place to be.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
It is very fun. That is all of my questions actually on my sheet. Is there anything we've missed or anything that you wanted to bring up?
um, I don't think so. We've gone over cocaine fairies and
Arse
arse
sandpaper.
sandpaper.
Yep.
So I think all in all we're great, and a massive shout out to everyone that wished me a happy birthday when I was there. It led to an unforgettable 30th. It was great.
Oh, brilliant. All right then. In which case, dear citizens, we'll be wrapping it up here. Um, in Navarre, we always have, strength to the Empire, strength to Navarre. What is the equivalent in Dawn? Is there like a send off or a goodbye that they commonly use?
Pretty sure it's just incessantly shouting glory. In all honesty, or synonyms synonyms of such words. So I don't know. Could shout glory.
All
If
right,
you
let's
want,
do it.
do you
Yeah,
want to, do you want
repeated
to be an
shout
honorary
glory.
member? Just
Three,
repeat the shout
two,
glory will fade
one.
into nothingness.
Yeah, glory,
Glory,
glory, glory,
glory,
glory.
glory.